Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Yeah, I had to come back. And I know it's late, but I didn't want to forget, and I have it fresh in my mind of what I spoke earlier in those other two videos, part one and part two, and now this is three. I'm going to try, inshallah, to finish this out in this video. And I don't really have to get into factor three, which this is the main video for factor three. And if those of you who haven't watched the other videos, I was speaking on factors, four factors that I said I would try to do of why we are experiencing the COVID-19, particularly, besides all the other catastrophes and things that are coming at us as the human race is concerned. And even animals are being affected. But the human race, this is what we have. This is our life that we have, and we see it, we realize. The animals don't even understand why, and maybe they do, we don't know, but it's because of us, it's what they're going through. It's because of us. So anyway, to the point, factor number three, which deals with disobedience to Allah, and which is a social thing that we do daily, how we live our lives, has contributed to what is coming at us, how we do things. I mentioned the main one was racism. Another example, and then I'm going to go on to how we're going to get away from this evil, great evil, racism, is to return back to Allah. Because Allah mentions, and it's mentioned from the Quran. I'm not going to speak word for word, but the understanding that I got from it, and I know, in the sense of, to say that mankind was created to know each other, that we were created to understand and know each other through their differences. Our differences is that you know something that I don't know, and I know something that you don't know. We're coming from different places. We have different environments, different resources that we know in our land that you can use, and I know in your land that I can use, and we trade and we barter. And this is the early systems that mankind had a balance a little more better than, until they started to become arrogant. The evil of arrogance, that, like the shaitan, as I mentioned, came about to say, I'm better than them, I should control that. And then also greed. That's another major sin. Not a major sin, but I can't say for sure if it's a major sin. Of course I would have to bring proof for that. And as much as the things that I'm saying here, it's better that proof comes with it. So, but I would say, from what I know, greed is a very bad, it's a bad sin, because it's going beyond the bounds of what Allah said. And that's what sins are. You're going beyond the bounds of what Allah says, what He says to do and what He says you can do. That we call halal, and what is haram you can't do. You're not supposed to do. And this is where disobedience comes, because the people go beyond the bounds. And like I mentioned with sexuality, going beyond the bounds. Allah created you to be this and to do this, and you want to do opposite, or you want to do other than, and you want to go beyond what He said you can do within that. Being married to a woman and a man, and they having relations in that with it, which is a sealed, a holy bond that Allah places upon them, because it's something that's sanctified. Allah gave them that. He did it. He prescribed that for them in His word to His prophets, that this is how He was supposed to be. He did this with His first human beings, Adam and Hawa, or Eve. But we go beyond the bounds. And back to the point for, the facts of the things that is up in the media right now, with African Americans dying at a higher rate, or we say black people dying at a higher rate in this country with the COVID, and it's really attacking majorly here, and that's due to our diets. And again, that's a sin too. When you harm yourself, when you know you should not be eating that which you eat, or you shouldn't be drinking that which you drink, or you're smoking that which you're smoking, you shouldn't be doing. For number one, you wasn't born with it. Your body did not accept it. That's number two. Your body rejected it from the beginning, whether it's a drug, intoxicant, or whether it's some type of food that's not good for you, like pork. That's just an example. Allah said it. It's no good. He said it in the Quran and even before that, in the Torah. Yeah, the Christians, he said it to you too. He said it to the Jews, and they know better. The people of the book. We're the people of the scripture. We're the people of Allah's word in books that was preserved. That's what the books were. We know them to be. They're preserved tablets of Allah's word, of God's word. Some of them are still in the right form, and some have been changed. Quran, of course, is in its form that has been given 1,400 years ago. Different translations, but the same Arabiya, same Arabic. And he said the same thing then, and he means it now. But we're doing these things. We're going against them. That's back to the point of sin, disobedience. And then we don't understand why these things happen to us. And in the Quran, there's plenty of places that tell us this is what our hands brought forth. But let me go pull one of them out, because that's what my faith what is based on. And I cannot just keep going on and speaking without bringing that which Allah says and mentions. And from this is the Quran, of course, right here. This is the Noble Quran. Yeah, an English translation of the meanings of and commentary. This is one of the best Qurans that you can get for a person of speaking English to have a better understanding. So, for a Muslim, preferably, of course, but if a non-Muslim is to get a hold of it, then that means he's on the path of, or she's on the path of becoming a Muslim, more or less. And unless you're trying to do like some of these people who are trying to go up against Islam, and they want to learn as much as they can and equip themselves with enough knowledge to combat Islam, and it doesn't work. I've seen plenty of debates, and the people always are made to be like they don't really understand the faith, because they don't. You got to be a part of this faith. So anyway, back to the point. This, let me see, let me find it here. Allahu Akbar. Look, Allah placed me right on it. Now, I'm going to read the verse in Surah An-Naba. Actually, it's 2 verses. The first verse, I want to read that, and then the one after that, which is the first verse is 29. It's Surah, which means it's another word for the chapter 78, and the name is An-Naba. An-Naba, which is the news. Okay, so and I don't know if I have space to read all of it. So, but it says in verse 29, and all things we have recorded in a book. And this is, we is another way to say that Allah and that which he controls, his dominion over, his angels, that he has to do his bidding and recording and being there at the midst of when Allah is giving his word, like Jibril alayhi salam. Jibril was one of the main angels that Allah revealed his revelation and gave it to him to give to his prophets and bring this message to them. It's like Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So again, back to the point. And all things we have recorded in the book. And Allah says in verse 30, so taste you the results of your evil actions. So taste you the results of your evil actions. No increase shall we give you except in torment. And then the last one that I will read, 31, verse 31. Verily, for the mutikun, there will be a success in paradise. And in the commentary, or the meaning of the mutikun, means pious believers of Islamic monotheism who fear Allah much, abstain from all kinds of sins and evil deeds which He has forbidden, and love Allah much, performs all kinds of good deeds which He has ordained. That's the mutikun. And I always ask Allah, and it's incumbent upon the Muslim to ask Allah for you to be a mutikun as a Muslim. So the mutikun is a Muslim, because in order for them to be accepted of what he does as far as the good deeds, and to also even know his sins, he has to have that clarity in his faith. He has to have that purity within his faith. And the pure faith of belief is to believe in Allah as one and worship Him alone. And that's submission. That's Islam. That's Islam. So, again, so taste you the results of your evil actions. This is what we're doing. We're tasting our results. COVID, I keep saying COVID. Sorry, I think I made that error before. COVID-19 is a torment. It's a trial. It's a low level punishment, because Allah has placed a lot more major punishments on the earth. On mankind in the earth several times over, like the great flood of Noah alayhi salam. Noah. So we should know this. We should know and understand that what he's saying here is what's going on. And for back to the people that are getting the lowest end of the stick, which is people of color, African people and brown people, but especially Africans and African descendants all over the world, highly disrespected. But Allah also mentions about that if you forget Allah, He will forget you. And if He forgets you, you will forget yourself. You will forget who you are. You're going to want to be like what everybody else is and be like somebody else. You're not going to even remember from that which you came from. You're not going to even be accepting that which you came from. You're going to be so lost you can't even understand. Because also, if you disobey Allah, He will bring humiliation to you. And part of humiliation is that you are taken away from the position that you had, and removed from that, and debased. Especially when you turn to shirk, turn away from belief and turn to disbelief, or turn to shirk in joining partners. And for our people, we have to start realizing that, okay, we want to return back to Africa, and you got the to feel good and great about that which you came from, but this ancestry worship, or saying the ancestors are doing this for you and doing that for you, and the ancestors are gone. Allah has them where He has them. We're not supposed to worship them. We're supposed to worship Him, because they know that right now that's who they should have been worshiping if they wasn't, and or some of them have died and they never told us to worship them, because even in West Africa, a good portion of West Africa is Muslim countries, and they know better. They know better, even though they enjoy the culturalisms of their tribalism and things like this, but more or less they know that there's only one deity that is worthy of worship, because that's what Islam teaches. That's the origin of Islam. So you returning back to West Africa, Ghana, Ivory Coast, Sierra Leone, Gambia, especially Gambia, which is one place that I'm trying to make my hijrah to, or make my migration to, and go back, because I lived in Egypt, or even North Africa parts. Egypt and South Africa, they got, you had the Zulu Nation and all these types of people, but ultimately most off the West African coast of Africa, people, they were Muslim majority. And Islam spread to a lot of parts in North Africa, predominantly Muslim. The Horn of Africa, you got Somalia and Eritrea, and you have a lot of Muslims in Ethiopia. Because this is what Allah had given the lands of Africa, as well as all over the world. Europe, and Islam is fast still growing, because the haqq, or the truth, cannot be hidden forever. So it's going to come up and it's going to show itself. Just like we're learning our heritage or background of where we come from. But because you didn't remember Allah, like I said before, you forgot Allah and He forgot you. Not in the way if He forgets you, like He don't remember you. He knows you. He knows you all the time, eternally. He created you. But it's like, okay, you turn your back on me, I'm going to turn away from you. And then you're going to lose yourself, because I'm the one who knows everything, and I'm the one who has everything in control. You need me. I don't need you. And that's just with Allah. Allah doesn't need us. We need Him. We need Him to exist. We need Him to be better in our lives. And we need to be focusing on Him alone, singling Him out with that, not enjoining others with it, and our loved ones or our ancestors or the people we came from. So that's where we have to get right with. And then the habits that we have, the bad habits that we developed in these lands, being oppressed first, or the Americas and Europe, certain parts of you, especially Britain, and then the West Indies and stuff, or you made the migration to these other lands for to have the better of your life. Like even still today, people are getting on these ships and incorrect manners of traveling over the waters to go to these countries that the people don't care about them, and they just only taking them in because they're trying to be known as a free world or a free country, and they accept everybody. But you're still looked at as the lowest of the low, because that's the mentality they have. But you should be returning back to that which you came from, so you can build yourself back up. Because everybody in this world has a foundation. With that which they came from, they can refer back to that, or they can go back to that, and they can remember their heritage and ancestry, and say, these people came from these people, know their lineage, and say, and this is nothing wrong, because the Prophet ﷺ in Islam, for the Muslims, it's not no nationalism thing, because then you can say that about the Prophet. No, you wouldn't say that about the Prophet, because the Prophet, he remembered his lineage through his family. That's how the Arabs are. They remember their lineage through their family with the names. Ibn this and Ibn that and Ibn that. That's acknowledging their lineage. It's not nationalizing it. It's just saying, okay, I know where I came from. And I know that I have some good with me, with my family, and I have some knowledge in my family, and I have some greatness to be a better human being in my family. I have Islam in my family. That's what we as African Americans need to know. That we have Islam that was established here, Kunta Kente and the likes of these people. But it was stripped away from us. So Return back to that which you came from. Islam, number one, the land, better eating habits, giving up drugs and alcohol and even marijuana. Marijuana, they get it right. It was a baby born with it, smoking it, puffing it? No. Why? Because it had no need to be. Allah didn't give them that. That wasn't something that they needed. They needed milk. They needed their mother's milk. That's what they needed. And then when they got older, there were certain foods that they was given by their mother and their parents and raised up, and they grew healthy and boom, not running around in the bush smoking in Africa. That happened a little more later on when we got and mixed with other races that were doing this, and they were using this. And some in Africa that's using it. But if you know, was those people from the believers of Allah, or was those people from the disbelievers? That's what you need to check. You need to make sure. So that's pretty much it. And to really try to finish up and sum up, I know I'm going a little longer, so I won't have to do a fourth video. With this virus and with the situations that are going on with us, I think that if we really take a strong look at ourselves and our lives, are we happy here or in these lands that we're locked in right now at this time, other than being in Africa? I mean, really take a good look at every asset. Do that pros and cons. Try that, because I already done it. But I'm me, and my life is my life, and I have my understanding of what life is for me, for my faith first, and then my experiences and what I see and what's going on, and how I see things. I can't force that upon any of you. Even my own loved ones, we don't see eye to eye all together on everything. My kids, my wife, this, as far as everything, but they're my closest people to me in my heart and in my life and my relatives. But I'm praying that they do see that one thing, because right now, these are a lack of safe times. So if you really see as one of the most important con is that you're not safe here in America, I'm just speaking in America, not even speaking in Europe. And for those brothers and sisters in Europe, Muslims, and even the other people of the Black African American, Black African descent, those countries that you're being oppressed or you feel suppressed because of racism, then the right thing to do is to remove yourself and then go to the land that you can build yourself back up and be respected in the world. Because people respect people who respect themselves, and they walk in this life a respectable person. They have dignity. We have to get back our dignity. We can't get it back in these lands trying to live up to their specifications and trying to look like them and be like them and act like them. I want to be a gangster. You know what I mean? You want to be a gangster like, what, Scarface? Was it Al Capone or whatever? And look what happened to him. Why do we want to be like people who don't amount to any good? Why do we want to be thugs? Divas. You know what the word diva means? Thug. The word thug is it comes from a demon. It's a demon. Some of these things we don't even know and understand. We gotta change our life. We gotta change what we think, how we think. But we gotta remove ourselves first, really. So once we get the chance. And I say, as a lasting advice in this message and this word and this talk that I've been doing in these videos, is make a quick preparation while you in these places where you're at, and prepare to leave. That's my advice to you. Prepare to leave and start all over as best as you can. Start your life better. Build yourself back up in that land. Okay, you may not want to be Muslim. That's up to you. You may not want to come to the faith. I invite, that's part of my faith, to invite the people to Islam, especially my loved ones. especially my loved ones. And I'm going to keep doing it until I die, inshallah. But you choose your life. But if you want it to be better, this is for all humans, even people of other nationalities. In your country, you get better. You come to Africa, you do right by the people, and you respect the people. Because we are all human beings on this planet, and we're gonna all be judged. And our blood is all red. Those are basic things. So get yourself right. And y'all, all of you, get right with Allah. All of us, we must get right with Allah. Okay, people, thank you very much for listening, and subscribe again, thumbs up if you can. If you feel that you agree with it. If you don't want to, that's up to you. And try to have a good rest of this life, and be safe out there, and stay home, follow the rules, plan your plan, and work your plan when the release is there, and when we are able to move around again. I'm telling you. All right. Assalamu alaikum. Peace and bless.